I mean, frankly, I feel much the same way Terry does. I don't understand what George is doing making all these comments. George is one of the winningest coaches in the history of the sport. We all really enjoyed working with him here at ESPN. He got a ton of support all around the NBA when he battled cancer twice. So why go burn all those bridges now? I like blunt talk as much as the next person. But there is a difference between telling it like it is and using coded language to reveal yourself as out of touch while you take cheap shots at people who trusted you. And make no mistake, that's what's happening here. In the excerpt from the book that got so much attention last week, Karl attacks Carmelo Anthony, Kenyon, J.R. Smith, calling them, quote, spoiled brats. He called Kenyon immature and insecure, and he wrote that, quote, Kenyon and Carmelo carried two big burdens, all that money and no father to show them how to act like a man. Now, this morning on ESPN Radio, George sort of apologized for that last part. Take a listen.
I said it poorly, and I'm sorry that I said it poorly. And I'm sorry for the reaction because I know Kenyon. The one thing I love about Kenyon Martin, he is a good father.
George also said on ESPN Radio that, quote, sometimes when you take excerpts out of the book, it becomes not exactly what I said. I don't really understand that because, well, it's your book that you wrote. George also said he wants to get back into coaching, and to that I have to say, I hope you like college basketball. Personally, I can't ever see him getting an NBA job ever again. Kenyon, I do want to start with you. You had a very angry series of tweets, and entertaining, by the way, right after the excerpts were released. You called George a coward. You called him awful. Talked about a lot of former players not liking him. You've had a week, but even more stuff has come out. How are you feeling right now? What's your reaction?
Still the same. My feelings for George Karl is that he is the person who he is, and he's showing everybody who he is. The person who I dealt with playing for 6.5 years in Denver. I saw it firsthand every day. Him coming in the locker room, not speaking to people, him talking down to other people, him treating people in the organization like crap. I'm saying I saw it year in, year out. So now the world is getting to see it. That's all it is.
How bad was it when it was bad?
It was real bad. It got heated at times. Myself, other players, but I take full responsibility for my action and my problem that I had with George Karl. And it was basketball related and other stuff, but if it was just about basketball, it was fine. But then with these latest statements and all that, he crossed the line.
It became very personal.
Yeah, definitely, because it has nothing to do with me, the way I acted towards George, had nothing to do with the way I grew up. Nothing at all. My mother did a great job raising me. So for him to take shots at her and to say, I act like this because I didn't have a father, has no merit whatsoever.
One might even say that you were able to rise from whatever you didn't have as a kid, and it's an accomplishment that you were able to succeed the way you were.
Yeah, but in his eyes, it's not the case. He looks at it as in a negative because he's a negative person, and that's who he is. And that's what this book is about. It's all negativity that's coming out of this. Nothing good so far.
Byron, you coached Kenyon. You heard what another coach had to say about him. How did that make you feel, and what did you think?
Like you said, I know Kenyon extremely well. From a personal standpoint, from a basketball standpoint, one of the brightest players I've ever had. His basketball IQ was off the chart. And, we had a good laugh in the green room just talking about the good old times and when we were in New Jersey together. And, he talked about how hard I worked those guys. But we also talked about some of the things that went on in practice and game situations. The thing that I found about him as a rookie is that very intelligent, very mature, and understood the game of basketball better than most rookies I've ever seen, and had a will to win every single night. We already talked about it. He wasn't the greatest practice player in the world.
That was a pre-show conversation.
That wasn't something that he liked doing on an everyday but when the lights came on, when the lights came on,
we're not talking about practice,
wanted to compete. Yeah. But he did it.
Yes.
But he wanted to compete.
Yes.
So when I read and heard all this stuff, it was kind of like, you just shake your head because I know him from a personal standpoint over the years. 16 years I've known this young man, and I've seen him with his kids, and I've seen him on that basketball court, and I know how genuine he is about his family and about the game of basketball.
Now, he did say that he had a poor choice of words on the radio this morning. Does that count as an apology to you?
Not at all, man. He's only saying something because of the reaction that he got. If nobody would have said anything about the wording of the book or the excerpts that come out, then he would have been fine with it. He would have went on whenever the book comes out, sell his copies, get his residuals off of it, and everything would have been fine. So now he's trying to backtrack the statement saying he knows me. You don't know me. You never took the time to get to know me. You never asked me how I was doing, how my family's doing. You never asked to come meet me at dinner. So how do you know me? You only know what you think you know, and that's not a lot.
And I assume he has not called you
Not
to
at all.
apologize
Not
or
at
anything
all.
like that.
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, Byron, you're a little bit in this position because you are a coach who has seen and done a lot of things, and you are currently writing a book.
Yeah.
And you know the pressure that I assume publishers want to say, what do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
Yeah.
How does that, when watching what's going on with George Karl right now, how is that influencing you as you're writing right now?
Well, you know what? It's still that code as a player and as a coach when you're in this league. That what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's the same thing in the NBA. You know, things that happen in your locker room, things that happen between you and a certain player, it stays there. You know, and I'll go to my grave with all the stuff that I've had with being a player and being a coach, because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Now, in selling books, yeah, everybody wants to hear about the negativity, you know, the controversies, all those things sell books. And in the book that I have coming out, you might have one paragraph of something that I didn't like about a certain player. But that's it, because that's not the whole function of my book. George's book is obviously dealing with players, and like you said, if I looked at it and said, I guess he don't want to coach in the NBA ever again, because you know, from some of the things he said about players and general managers and things like that, and ownership and franchise, I don't see you getting another job or another opportunity. But if this is the way he feels, that's the way he feels. But in my world of the NBA, you don't burn those bridges, and you leave those things in the locker room, or you leave them on the plane, or you leave them at home, or you leave them wherever you have to leave them, but you don't bring them out.
It's just hard, too, because, I mean, look, whether you want another job or not, the NBA has given everybody involved with it so much,
Unbelievable opportunity.
right?
That's right.
And especially a guy who, when he was sick, I feel like a lot of people in this league rallied around
And
him.
then with that said, when ESPN presented him with the award, I was the only person from the whole organization that came to Los Angeles to support him. The only person in the whole organization.
And
And then now this. And then, like, who's to say, like, what conversations he's had behind closed doors that don't come out about myself,
Right.
about Carmelo.
Right.
And maybe after I left Denver, that's why I had a hard time getting a job after that.
Right.
You know, Lord knows who he had these conversations with.
Right. Well, I mean, look, he does say, I mean, you said, oh, gee, I read this and I wouldn't think he wanted to coach again. He said on ESPN radio this morning, every day I wake up, I want to coach again, which is amazing.
But he didn't say
in the book.
he didn't say NBA.
Well,
he just said every day I wake up, I want to coach again.
As I said, I don't think that's on the table anymore. But Kenyon, it was interesting listening to Terry Stotts because he brought up George's Hall of Fame chances.
Yeah.
You are talking about one of the top 5 winningest coaches in NBA history. It should make him a shoo-in for the Basketball Hall of Fame. But I don't know, Kenyon, do you think that the way he's been trashing people around the game in this book, and by the way, he also said in the book that he brought up those old conspiracy theories about the NBA being rigged. I mean, he really took a torch to a lot of stuff.
In my opinion, George is not deserved. George is not a good basketball coach, in my opinion.
Really?
He has wins. He's been blessed with talent over the years, but X's and O's and all. He knows that, but you have to be a complete basketball coach. You have to coach defense, special situations, getting to know your players, treating your players right. All that, in my opinion, all that plays a factor in order to be considered a Hall of Fame player, Hall of Fame coach. You know, things tarnish people's legacies. Look at Pete Rose. Pete Rose legacy has been tarnished forever. He can't do anything to get in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I think things like this that come out with George shouldn't be denied.
Yeah, well, I mean, this obviously is not the same as gambling on the
Not at
game,
all,
but I will
but
say
it's
you're right because
tarnished him.
Hall of
Tarnished him,
Fame
no
has
matter
an
what he did.
instruction to their voters saying they should exclude anyone who has, quote, damaged the integrity of the game.
Definitely.
So we'll have to see if
Oh,
they
well.
feel like this counts.
Well,
We have to take a quick break here.
Oh, well.
Butler holds it out against Bogdanovich. Jimmy starts to drive, step back in the air.
Let me step back and kiss myself. Big time plays, big time plays. Woo!
Butler.
Oh my goodness. And they just left Bogdanovich out here on the island by himself. And he says, you know what? This is Jimmy G Bucket Island. Get some. Step back. Kiss myself, Neil Funk. Woo! Sriracha. Sriracha.
Can you say what you just said?
Hey, where's the 2-minute report on that carry, Jimmy? Listen, I like Jimmy, but he's a great player. But Jesus Christ, how about the lead up to the shot? Can't nobody guard that.
That's AI back in the day.
Ain't nobody guard that.
2016, my friend. It's a different league.
Jesus.
I love it. I love how he was under pressure. I love the guys mobbing him afterward. I love Dwayne Wade and how much props he gave him afterward. I feel like that team is functioning chemistry-wise so much better than people expected. So,
well, you know what, though? I mean, at that particular point, Jimmy only had 38 points, and you're going to leave him out there one-on-one. Come on, Brooklyn. Somebody go double team him. Don't let him beat you. He had 38 at the time.
And they was watching
somebody
the show
go get
it. And they was there watching the show just like that. They wanted to see if he was going to make it. The other 8 guys out there wanted to see if he was going to make it. Hey, guess what?
Well,
look,
he did.
They had their curiosity sated. All right, let's turn our attention to last year's unanimous MVP, Steph Curry. Christmas Day did not go well for Steph. He didn't play well, clearly frustrated with how he was used. And after shoot-around yesterday, well, he was talking about it. Steph said, quote, I definitely want to be in more pick-and-roll situations, whether I'm getting shots or whether we're manufacturing ball movement. That's a strength of ours, regardless of how teams play us. So, guys, then the Warriors played last night after that quote. It sounds like Steve Kerr was listening. Steph, indeed, the primary ball handler in a bunch of pick-and-rolls. He looked more solid overall, but the Warriors still pretty uneven. At times, they looked amazing, and then at times they looked crazy sloppy. So, Byron, do you think Curry's comments are a big deal? Is he right about how the Warriors should be using him more?
You know what? I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest with you. My only problem with it is I hope that Steph went to Steve first and said, Coach, you know what? I need to be in more pick and rolls. KD needs to be in more pick and rolls. Clay needs, just put us in that type of, environment where we can make plays for ourselves and our teammates. If that's what he did, I don't have a problem with it. Even as a coach, back in the day, I would go to them and tell them, okay, Mark, tonight you didn't do this, you didn't do this. And then you go to the press and you say certain things, so it's not a surprise to him. So if he said this to the media before he even talked to Coach Kerr, then I got a problem with it. But I think they have a pretty good relationship. I think they get along extremely well. But if he went to Steve and talked to it, then, of course, Steve is going to look at him and say, hey, 2-time MVP, we're going to put you in more pick and rolls.
So, here we go. There's only one ball out there, man. I don't think it's a big deal.
Right.
But there's only one ball out there. And when you add Kevin Durant to that equation, your percentage of times you handle the ball is going to go down. Right. That's just the nature of it.
Yeah. Steph Curry ranks 34th in the league in the time that possession that he's got the ball in his hands. You might think that would up a little bit for the two-time MVP. Even if you're sharing the ball, a bunch of all-stars. All right, since we are talking Cavs-Warriors, the NBA released its 2-minute report, Kenyon, for the Christmas Day matchup. Some calls were missed, in particular 2 key calls that should have been in Golden State's favor. LeBron James hung on the rim, should have been whistled for a tech.
That ain't even hanging.
Oh, well.
That's swinging.
Richard Jefferson tripped Kevin Durant on the final play. Should have been called for a foul. As KD said, I didn't fall by myself. Still, though, KD, as upset as he was on the day of the game, he doesn't like the 2-minute report. Take a listen.
The refs didn't lose that game. If we lost that game, we could have been better. I think it's the NBA. The NBA throw the refs under the bus like that. Like, this happened to be in our favor. Not even in our favor. We don't get the win, but to say that I got fouled and the tech and all that stuff, just move on, man. You don't throw the refs under the bus like that. So, because the next game, that group of refs, or whoever it is, going to come out and they're going to ref the game. They're going to be tense when they ref in the game, and they're going to try to get every play right. They're going to try to be perfect. And, without just going out there and relaxing and making the right call.
LeBron James also expressing his displeasure with the 2-minute report, saying, I think it discredits what the referees are doing for the other 48 minutes. Kenyon, how do you feel about the 2-minute report?
I don't see the need for it, but if you're going to put a report out, why not do the whole game?
That's a lot of work.
Why not? Hey, they got people there watching referees, just watching them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, so why not?
What do you think, Byron?
Well, you know what? I've always felt this about the league anyway. You can go to any NBA game and you can go get your drinks and dinner and go to a movie and come back with 4 minutes left in the game, and that's when the game is going to start.
Come on, you're not one of those people.
Hey, listen, the 2-minute thing, the thing I will say about that is I disagree with KD in the sense of that the league is trying to make this league better. And they're trying to put a little bit more onus on the referees to get it right. So just like players, we hold you guys accountable when you don't do certain things. The referees are being held accountable for missing calls. So for putting them on blast, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, they're showing fans that they're holding them accountable.
Exactly.
And frankly, as someone who has covered other leagues, like, I don't know, the NFL, I can tell you that
so
when the
therefore do
league
the whole game.
when the league pretends that everything its officials do is right, and people have eyes, and we all have replay, and we can see that it's not true, you lose confidence in the league and the officials. So at least to have someone from the league office saying, hey, we know that these human beings aren't perfect, because they're not.
Right.
And we know that they got this wrong, and we are trying to do this better. I think that's a good thing. I like that as a fan.
Well, with all this modern day technology, it won't be that hard to get it done, to watch.
To get it quick and to do the 48-minute report.
But the game ain't really on the line to the last 3 or 4
understand
minutes.
that, but why say
and they
anything?
gonna make
then?
but you know what, like
but
you
then
said,
too, but why say anything then?
I agree with you there. But their job is to be as perfect as they can be as a referee.
Yeah.
And in order for them to be that way, sometimes you got to put them on blast.
There you go. There you go. All right, we're going to take a break, but when we get back, we will ask Kenyon if his son can beat him in one-on-one already. And wait until you see the video. This is a valid question. First, though, here's our distant replay
put a bet up on this one, Kenyon.
from this date in 1999, featuring our favorite distant replay guy, Vince Carter.
The Raptors run the other way.
Oh, no, you did not.
Not
in a game. 360.
In a game.
360 in a game, one hand, then put it back up. Come on, man.
Yes, Lord.
We're going to have like Vince Carter month on the jump where we just have Vince Carter replays.
I'm pretty sure you got enough to cover it.